What's up, everybody? This is Cole Boling with the Boling Group at Keller Williams Realty, One Legacy Partners here in Topeka, and you are listening to Topeka Business Uncensored. Here we go. Hey, everybody, this is Cole Boling with the Boling Group at Keller Williams One Legacy Partners in Topeka, and this is Topeka Business Uncensored. And today we have a really special guest. I recently saw some national news about this guest, and I think we'll dive into that here shortly. But today I want to introduce you to Molly Howey, and she is the president of GO Topeka. Hi, Molly.
Hey, how are you, Cole?
I am fantastic. I'm even better that you are here today. I've been looking forward to this for over a week now because we've been talking about getting together here. So tell the listeners a little bit about what is GO Topeka.
Okay, well, GO Topeka serves the Topeka and Shawnee County community as the economic developer for our community. Really, what that means is helping to find resources to help existing businesses grow in Topeka of all sizes, small and large, and then also helping to attract new businesses and to find their home here in Shawnee County. And then there's a lot of, holistic pieces that happen between those deals that you see on the front page of the paper. So really just trying to make sure that workforce connections and resources are there and being a liaison in a lot of ways throughout the rest of the community. So really adding jobs and capital investment to our community through all sizes of businesses.
Wow, that is there's a lot of great moving parts there. A couple things I wrote down here was finding resources for business. Like, what would be something where you'd say, like, a business comes to you and they have some needs? What are some of the couple things that you see the most?
Yeah, gosh. So since we serve all sizes and types of businesses in all stages, I mean, we could have a small homegrown business that's more of a Main Street business that has, a retail operation that is starting up that really needs to tap into some capital, and they need help writing a business plan. So they may come in our door needing help writing a business plan, and our team may help them with that, or we may connect them to another partner in the community, like the Washburn Small Business Development Center that's on the floor below us here. So just making sure that we are sharing all the resources within our community and helping to kind of remove barriers and things. And then on the large side, it's such a, all ends of the spectrum, or all pieces of the spectrum. And on the extreme end, we receive a number of requests for proposals from larger businesses that could be located in the United States already, or could be international, that are looking for another location or a location to move or expand to, and are going through a really data heavy process of site selection. So
sure.
Throughout the year, we receive probably 30 or 40 full requests for proposals that ask all kinds of questions. So I think I didn't know that it was that involved. When you see a request for proposal from a company, like say the Walmart distribution center that opened,
sure, yeah,
they will ask questions that we are not going to be able to answer because we're not engineers, but we know who can answer the question. So things like, how deep is the water table at the site? Or demographic questions that we actually have at our fingertips. So we serve as connectors to a lot of those resources and pieces of information that help businesses move forward and make the best decision for their business.
So if I'm a major corporation, I know we have Mars, we have Walmart now. I mean, we have some other secret players in the game right now talking, which I know that any given time there's 20 to 50 major corporations looking at the Midwest because of the central location of where they can distribute from. And however, if I'm a big player and I'm interested in this area, I'm coming to you, and I could pretty much, you're kind of like my liaison in a sense. Is that way of understanding that? Like, okay, so who do I contact to find out about this table, water table or floodplains or zoning requirements or what kind of government restrictions I need to, or who do I need to contact? Is that what I'm understanding there?
Yeah, and actually it's not even us telling you who to connect. They're asking us all that information, and then we find all the information and put it
Okay.
into their request for that information and then send it back to them. So that we're kind of the quarterback. And then, you know, when it gets further down the line where they're coming into the market and want to have face-to-face meetings, we're the people that are facilitating those discussions and making sure that the people that know how to get down into the weeds and talk about those details are at the table and have the same goal in mind, and that is to grow the opportunities for our community and our, you know, presenting the community in a positive light. And we're lucky to have a great team that is, you know, ready to jump at that chance. It's usually a fast and furious game. So it's kind of like being a salesman, only the community is your product instead of a widget.
Oh, I like that. I like that. It's amazing to me how, I think back 20 years ago, I've been a realtor since '06. My father has been a home builder for 30 some years. I don't remember a time when it was anything other than maybe the chamber that was kind of doing this. Like, is this, would you say GO Topeka? Because it used to, I mean, there's been a few different names, Visit Topeka, and it's kind of evolved in a little bit more of a consolidation of business ideas. But like, is this a fairly new concept that we have in Topeka, or is it a fairly new process? Or has this been around for a while?
I mean, we try to be dynamic and change with the needs of the community, but it is a little bit confusing when you talk about the structure of the organizations. So GO Topeka is part of the Greater Topeka Partnership. The Greater Topeka Partnership is what we like to call the collaborative agency that houses GO Topeka, Downtown Topeka, Visit Topeka, and the Chamber of Commerce. Those are the four main organizations. Yeah. So the chamber still exists, and the chamber and GO Topeka have been partnered since GO Topeka's inception. But GO Topeka, technically, I mean, if you want to really get down into the structure of things, GO Topeka has always been the economic development organization housed within the chamber, and has always been carrying out those initiatives and actually technically contract with the city and county to carry out those services through the half-cent sales tax.
I gotcha. So like Visit Topeka is more for tourism in a sense, right? Okay. Yes. All right. I'm understanding a little bit more here. And the Great Topeka Partnership is kind of the shell corporation that kind of just distributes like the different avenues that people go to, right?
Yeah.
Is that way you'd like look at it?
Yeah. The Greater Topeka Partnership was formed to really bring all of those different, they're all economic development organizations, just with different, different lenses and different lanes, but to bring all those organizations under one roof and share resources. So we have dedicated staff for each of those organizations, but then we share a communications and marketing department, and admin and finance, because there's a lot of economies of scale there. You know, when Visit Topeka is creating marketing pieces to attract visitors here, well, you're a visitor before you live here. So it's a circle of life, right? It's a full circle. You come and visit, and then you might decide you want to visit again. And then you might, meet someone here or create a connection, or even when you're a business looking at whether to locate somewhere, they're also a visitor, right? So we share marketing collateral, photos, branding, all those assets. And it's just, it works better to have us all under one roof and working from the same strategy, and understanding what our metrics are and how they connect with one another.
That's awesome. I think that what I hear when you say that, and so many of the different, I think about business. I think about business in general, and almost it's very rare to have a successful business that doesn't have multiple divisions or multiple business opportunities. And really, this is no different, right? So like if I'm looking at this as a business, and I'm Walmart, or I'm somebody coming in here to talk to you, like how is GO Topeka or some of these organizations getting revenue, right? Or how do you guys get paid, and how do you guys make money? And is it government funded? Is it, what do you guys do to be profitable?
Yeah, so GO Topeka is unique in that we receive a good portion of our operating funds from the half-cent countywide sales tax. It's
Okay.
a Shawnee County sales tax that was voted upon by the voters most recently in 2016, and it's a 15-year sales tax.
Okay.
And so that sales tax generates, a varying amount of dollars depending on what the economy looks like. And then within that ballot that the voters voted on, there are a number of different specific projects: roads, bridges, the zoo, the Stormont Event Center, and then a line item for economic development. So we receive a good portion of our operating dollars from that half-cent countywide sales tax. And then we also have private companies throughout the community and the region, really, that see the benefit of the work that we're doing, that are investors in the strategy that is behind all of the work that the Greater Topeka Partnership does. So you may have heard Momentum 2022. That's the current strategy that we're working under, and we're getting ready to launch Momentum 2027. So it's a 5-year holistic economic development plan that touches all the pieces and parts of the Greater Topeka Partnership, and even wider than that throughout the whole community. And it's really a holistic plan that can impact the average citizen to the C-suite executive at a large corporation.
Okay, I'm gonna come back to that momentum thing because that excites me. But I have a couple more questions around this paid thing. So like if I'm a business and I want to start a new business in Topeka, right? Like let's say I want to start a coffee shop, right? I come to you and I say, I don't know where I want it. I don't have any necessarily, I don't know for sure if it's even what this community needs. Like, is that a resource you guys help figure out? Like and maybe area demographics, like if I should maybe do a laundromat instead of a coffee shop or something like that?
Yeah, no, that's a conversation that we have a lot. There are classes that we offer that are Kaufman certified classes for people that want to start their business and grow their business. But then we also have a wealth of data at our fingertips from demographics, like you mentioned, but then also there's information from the franchising side. Like if someone says, gosh, why don't we have a Starbucks in downtown? Well, there's a database that shows you what Starbucks needs to be able to locate, one of their facilities in a certain area. And you have to meet certain demographic thresholds to make a business model work in the retail sector. So we offer a lot of those resources. And then obviously we're not brokers and realtors. So we have a database on our website that shows available properties out there, but we know that's not exhaustive. And so we would point them and say, hey, do you have a realtor? You really ought to engage with a realtor to find out, what they know about those sites and the unique capabilities of a building or a location, and, traffic counts and things like that. So again, that's where we kind of become a connector. We're not going to be able to be the end answer for them, to answer everything for them, but we hope to be able to point them to someone that will.
That's when they call the Boling group. So if you listen to this, you call Cole and Jamie for that. No, but then, you talked about, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, but we do have more things to offer too, besides just pointing you to someone else. I mean, we have a pretty robust small business incentives program too. So we don't just incentivize those large businesses like the Walmarts and the Frito-Lays and the Target and things. We really do believe that small businesses make the community what it is, and so make it unique, and understand that is a huge piece of the quality of life that we offer as a community. And you have to have a product, a community that is attractive for people to want to live, for all of the companies in our community to have workers, right? People need to want to live in Topeka for all the businesses to be able to succeed. So
well, I just had like 15 different things go through my head because this stuff is so exciting to me. I've been researching franchises for years, and it really is a very intricate, complicated world. If you look at like some businesses will not even respond to you. I've noticed, like corporate, let's use Starbucks, right? Sometimes Starbucks won't even respond to you if you're an individual reaching out to them, but they're going to probably respond to GO Topeka, or they're probably more than likely, right? Or you're going to have a connection and know who to talk to. And I'm only using Starbucks because you use Starbucks, right? But like I have researched opening multiple franchises. I'm just a business guy in general. And And this is important for the listeners of this to understand that sometimes you don't have, I don't even know if I want to say sometimes, you never have to do it alone. And I think that entrepreneurs in general, and correct me if I'm wrong, I believe entrepreneurs in general are stubborn, and I believe that they feel like they have to do it their own to prove that they're an entrepreneur.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the reality of it is those are 99% of the times the ones who do not succeed. The ones who come in and use the resources of others and learn from others and ask questions and actually come from, like, they drop the ego in a sense, and they open themselves up and they go, hey, I need help and I want to succeed and I want to have these things. Like, that's what I'm hearing, is that if somebody really wants to be an entrepreneur and somebody really wants to succeed, the resources are there for them not to have to figure it all out themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think we need to keep building that ecosystem though. I mean, we don't have everything. We definitely don't have everything when it comes to the ecosystem for an entrepreneur or a small business. We're getting ready to launch a mentorship program to be able to do that, to match, mentors and mentees, and hopefully both will learn from one another and be able to kind of get down to that raw, vulnerable conversation that you have to be able to understand. You could have a dream of creating some business that really may not work or may not have the feasibility that you think it will. And so to be able to pivot and say, okay, well, I still want to be an entrepreneur. Let's tweak this a little bit to make it work here. And so, yeah, we will always be evolving and changing to meet the needs of the community. And so you never know what resource may pop up that's new. So, but we also need feedback too. If you see, if there are small businesses out there listening that say, hey, we think this and this and this are great, but we need access to more capital, or we want to be able to practice our pitches, or, whatever that need is, we're all ears. We need to know that.
Have you ever seen the TV show? And I don't know how much TV you watch, but there was a TV show a couple years ago that came out called Undercover Billionaire. Did you ever see that?
I don't think so. No.
I highly recommend.
Undercover Boss I've seen, but not the Billionaire.
Yeah.
No.
So what it is it's this story of a billionaire. They take him or her, whoever it is, and they drop them in a location. They give them $100. They give them an old beater vehicle, and they have 90 days to make $1 million business.
Wow.
And the first episode, the gentleman went to an organization just like yours, and he built this amazing business in a 90-day time frame because of the help of their Go city that they were in. And that place really brought him in, let him use their offices, helped them build this business plan, helped them build their PowerPoints. And he went out and he just grinded. And then within 90 days, they built this amazing business, all because of the resources. You should check it out. It was season 1 of Undercover Billionaire.
Okay. Yeah. Check that out.
I think it was on Discovery or A&E or one of those channels. But if you just search it, you'll find it. But and you may even get some ideas from, because I remember after watching that, we had reached out to somebody and we were like, hey, do you have this and this? And it was like, it's in development and we're working on it. And I got a lot of those ideas from that show. Okay, so let's shift gears, and I want to go to this momentum thing. So momentum's a business plan, right? Let me make sure I understand that correctly, right?
It's a strategic plan, a community-wide strategic plan. Yes. Okay,
so what can you tell us about Momentum 2027, or even Momentum 2022, and what's going to happen? Maybe that's where we start. What's Momentum 2022, and what is the evolution into Momentum 2027?
Okay, so Momentum 2022, really the way these strategies come about is bringing together a diverse group of stakeholders around the table to talk very candidly and openly about, do a SWOT analysis to start. What's going well in the community that we need to keep capitalizing on? What are we missing, and what are our areas for improvement? And then what's unique about us? Let's put the Topeka spin on it. And so the strategy was a 5-year strategy, and Momentum 2027 will be the same. So Momentum 2022 is coming to a close, and really, I don't know if I'll be able to spout off all of the pillars off the top of my head, but one of them is develop homegrown talent. So obviously we know workforce and talent is a huge piece of economic development and the success of our businesses, right? And then we also had grow a diverse economy, which is more just the traditional side of economic development. Let's keep bringing new businesses and make sure that they are high quality businesses that offer good opportunities for our community, and make sure we're diversifying that industry sector. And then create vibrant and attractive places. And that's where you look at the aesthetics of the community and how that plays into just the morale and the attractiveness of a community from the visitor to the business owner to the worker. And then collaborate for a strong community, which was about diversity and inclusion and just really celebrating our history. And so those are the main 4 pillars from Momentum 2022. Mm-hmm. Similarly, Momentum 2027 falls somewhat along those same lines, but has been refined in obviously the action steps and the focus areas. But we've come a long way as a community in our self-esteem and the way that we talk about ourselves. And we still need to keep improving. But I think that's one of the main metrics that we saw move in Momentum 2022 was just being able to celebrate the successes that we've had, and not always saying, well, we've tried that and that didn't work, or, this is Topeka, and saying it negatively. We now are saying this is Topeka, and mm-hmm. we can do that. And we don't need to settle for the scraps when it comes to economic development projects. We can be aspirational and say, we're pickier about the companies that we're proactively trying to attract, because we want to grow the wealth of our community and really provide, more resources and remove poverty and change some of those metrics that we have changed. In the last census, we saw that our poverty reduced by 40% in the last from one census to the next, which is amazing. What was the time frame? Yeah, no other county in the state besides Johnson County has seen that reduction in poverty. Now that's not
over what time frame was that?
I think that was in the last 10 years. That was census
40% reduction in the last 10 years.
Yeah, census to census. So, we'll never be satisfied with the poverty rate that we have, because we'll never be at zero. But reducing that number by 40% is a great metric to shout from the rooftops about. So some of those metrics are very data driven. Others are things like our net promoter score. I don't know if you know what that is, but a lot of retailers measure their net promoter score. And that's one question of how likely are you to suggest or recommend X product to someone else. And so we placed in Topeka as that. And, it's a 0 is neutral, obviously, and any negative number means that the ratio of negative to positive is higher. And so we started, I don't even remember, negative 60 or 80 or something. And don't quote me on numbers, but anyway, we split the difference on that. We're still slightly negative, but that's okay. It's very good to be, 0 is like getting an A+. So we're still in the.
So this is like people say you should check out Topeka.
Yes.
Like, is that what that, and then being able to track that, like, where did that?
Yes. Yeah.
Like it's almost like a public thing.
Yeah. And we'll keep tracking that, and all of our metrics are online, and we'll keep tracking those through Momentum 2027. But anyway, I totally rambled forever there, because I could talk about all this stuff all day.
No, I could tell you're passionate about it. I love this.
Momentum 2027 is similar to those pillars, but it's a place to belong, a place to prosper, a place to learn, and a place to shoot. I just had a complete brain fog moment. I'll come back to that. But anyway, there's
ideas going through your head. I could tell how passionate you are here.
So what's different about this one is that we have equity in the center of this strategic plan too. So making sure that, like, our mission statement says for all. We want to create access to opportunities for all, and that means all sizes of businesses, all types of businesses, all types of people, to be able to live a prosperous life and have access to employment that's a livable wage. So I don't want that to sound like we're trying to be all things to all people, though, when we talk about this strategy, because, like I said, within those action steps, that's where the meat is, right? It's the specific tactics that we're working on. And it's cool,
you want to be all things to all people who really want your help.
Yes, yes.
and not people that are
And
just going to use the information to benefit them and not like really
yeah,
give back, right? I mean, because we all
yeah,
experience that.
yeah. And there's ways for the whole community to get involved in that too, and to be proud of the progress that the community is making, because this is not a Greater Topeka Partnership or Go Topeka thing. It's a community-wide deal. And we need, I mean, it takes a village, right? We need everybody to be on board with, when you hear someone talking negatively about your city, stand up for it. I mean, be a
Mm-hmm.
defender of your brand and of your community. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we're always going to have room for improvement, but we're doing some pretty cool things, and we're making some changes, and
Yeah.
um trying to always improve and be a better Topeka.
Yeah. I love listening to your passion about it. And it kind of brought a question in my head is, why is Topeka great?
Huh. Gosh, okay. So when I say Topeka, I will also back up and say that I think I call that the Topeka community or the Topeka area, right? Because I mean, honestly, I don't live in Topeka city limits. I live outside of Silver Lake, and that's fine. Actually, I think I passed your house on my way home.
Probably
But
60-second.
yep, yep.
Yep.
But we need to embrace that, the fact that we can live out in the county and it takes 17 minutes to get from my 5 acres north of Silver Lake to downtown. That's something that probably a lot of us that have been here and grown up here take for granted.
Yeah, for sure.
Just the ease of living in Topeka and Shawnee County. And one of the things that really resonates with a lot of entrepreneurs, startups, and even the large businesses is access to decision makers. So like, you can be in the community for a couple of weeks and call the mayor and say, hey, I have an idea, I'm starting a business, I really want to sit down and meet with you, and he's going to take your call. You can't
Yeah.
do that in Chicago or Dallas, or I mean, a
Right.
lot of even mid-sized cities.
Right.
So there's a lot of really kind of sound like fluffier assets that we have here that people maybe take for granted, that I think
Mm-hmm.
really do set us apart. And then of course, from the technical side, we've got a great highway system and rail connectivity, and cost of doing business is lower. We're in the center of the United States. We have access to a
Absolutely.
large, diverse talent pool, diverse industry sector, and access to, universities on all sides of us. And, I could go on and on about that data, but the data
Yeah.
is what people can find that on the internet, right? But they can't
Sure.
find what the story of Topeka is. They really need to
Yeah.
hear that from
Yeah.
people like us.
So funny story. About 4 years ago, my wife and I actually moved to Florida. I'm born and raised in Topeka, very connected in Topeka. I was recruited. It was kind of the business thing. And yet I always wondered, right? Because all I ever knew was Topeka.
Mhm.
And we went to Florida, and it took 15 minutes for us to get to the grocery store that was right around the corner a lot of times. I mean, it was just a lot. And one of the things that really, coming back to Kansas, because I really do believe you do come back to your roots. The difference between coming back this time and ever going like on vacation and coming back was, I really did see the beauty in what is happening in our city. There's this weird peace, calming and peace in my soul around Topeka, when I really know that we have this ecosystem of people that we may not all be, friends and connected, but we know it's out there and we know it's happening. And sometimes I do believe that we get a little bit, and even listening to you a little bit, like you were saying, like, we don't have everything that some other places do. And that's true. But the difference that I noticed being in a major Tampa, because we were in Tampa, Clearwater
Mhm.
Beach, like that whole big area, is it all came down to still the small stuff. It was still grocery stores and local, little pool shops and like the
Mhm.
little businesses. And it didn't necessarily matter on a large scale what was needed. And I think a lot of people in Topeka get this whole like, oh, there's nothing to do here. And I may have been that guy before, right? I may have been that person before I left. And, actually coming back here and realizing how beautiful our city is, how
Mhm.
many amazing things we have, and trails and outdoors, and And if you just drive even where we live, like
Mhm.
if you just drive, I mean, you can see forever sometimes in the rolling hills. And when people start to realize that this town has a lot of money, and there's a lot of big players in this town, and there's a lot of people who want to support the town, you start to see it differently. And I
Mhm.
think that that's one of the things I love the most about listening to you here is the passion has to be there for you to really want to be successful in this city. And I think that there's a younger generation of 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds in Topeka right now who are so foundationally set, for lack of better words, in this community now that they're ready to prosper. They're ready to help bring in $100 million Mars expansion and actually help those companies realize why you put a 1 million square foot facility for Walmart in this city, or nationally recognized bakeries and things like that, because this community has so many cool things that we're kind of just getting started.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you look at what downtown's done, and that's really just a small piece of it, then
Mhm.
if you just drive, I really want people to drive around and just see this city. And then the last thing I'm going to say is, it doesn't matter if you live in the city, because I tell everybody that this is the greater Topeka area,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Topeka is the heart, and then
Mhm.
the communities around are part of it. Like I interviewed a gal who owns a 1886 cafe in Mayetta.
Yeah.
That's part of our community. It
Yep.
may be 20 minutes, it may be,
Mhm.
it's Northeast Kansas, greater Topeka area. And I think that people do get a little bit like, oh, that's in the county. And no,
Yeah.
it is a community like a lot of people I never saw in Florida. It was so detached. There was no community. There was no connection. There was everybody in their own little world. Where Topeka's different. We do have this going on. So now I'm
Mhm.
rambling, but you know what I'm saying. So
No, I agree. I agree. I mean, and just the fact that if you want to live in a loft downtown, cool, you can do that. You want to live on 5 acres, 20 minutes outside the city, you can do that. You want to live in a little community where you have community parades like Collins Park or something, that's fine too. There's just a lot of opportunities that, um, I think people on the coast probably took for granted. We're seeing a lot of interest in
hmm
just looking at your life differently since the pandemic, and the time that you take driving to and from work. I mean, gosh, we save a lot of time. Even though we're
hmm
20 minutes out, that's nothing compared to the 2-hour commutes that you see on the coast. So a lot of things that I think we take for granted that seem trivial, but I agree, are very important.
yeah. And a lot of the bigger cities, and I experience this too. And Elon Musk says it best. He says, we live and transport in a 2D world, but we
Mm,
work in a 3D world, right?
yep.
And the difference is we don't necessarily work in a major 3D world here. We
Mhm.
live and play in a somewhat 2D world.
Yeah.
And for people to really understand the concept, you almost have to live in traffic. You have to know that your house, like when you leave, you're moving at a snail's pace. I always laugh when I'm like, oh, there's so much traffic today here. And I'm like, and then I go, oh my gosh, it just blows my mind. Cause like, I know what traffic is. I mean,
Yeah.
going 30 minutes to your office that's 5 miles away, like
Uh,
that's real life that we were living there. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, it took me 17 minutes a day instead of 15. Right. And I'm
mhm.
like, traffic was heavy. And I laugh at myself because I live that, and I still find myself thinking that way.
Yeah.
But you said some really great things today. I think you and I could talk for a long time. So
Mhm.
I'm gonna try to sum it up from there. But there was
Sure.
one thing I wanted to touch on here. I recently saw that you were recognized for being one of the top 50 economic developers in the United States. Was it?
Yeah, I think they said
Tell us a
North
little bit about that.
America, which is interesting. Yeah, North America. Yeah.
How'd that feel?
You know, um, I'm a pretty humble person, so it's great, but I'm one of those that just candidly, when people tell me that, I'm kind of like, okay, thank you. I don't really know what I did to
Sure.
deserve that. I'm just a pretty authentic person. So if my authenticity has resonated with that many people to be able to receive that, then that's good. I'll take it. So,
interviewing you today, because we have never actually, I don't believe, met. If we have, it's been in passing.
yeah.
But I mean, I really am drawn to your energy. I think that you have this, like, I truly feel like you care. I truly feel like you want to help somebody. Like if I called you up and said, hey, I want to start a car wash, right? Like I truly believe that you would make me feel like I'm the only person in Topeka. And now I in this short time together, I get why you were just given that honor. So you could be humble all you want. And I think that that's a great asset, but be proud. I think that that is a very great honor. And I also think you need to use it selfishly to bring in more for our community, because I mean, honestly, like that's a big deal to be like, hey, we're real, we're here. Somebody else is seeing that. But like if you want to sit down with Walmart and you want to sit down with that people, like those are things that, and I say that to you, but like anybody who's ever received an accolade in a business, like I know so many people who receive amazing rewards and awards in their world that you would never know it. And they're usually the humble people who don't want it to be out there. And most of the big players in our business, like, will never talk about, all the amazing things they've done. But in all reality, they probably should, because of the motivation that it can help a young entrepreneur or somebody who really wants to start a business, but they're like, oh man, that's a hard thing to do. When we share those accolades and we share what you're doing, like it really is motivating for somebody else. So take the humility. I get it. I understand, but I'm telling you, like, that's a big deal. And I could tell you earned it. So I'm not going to let you get away with not being a little bit, like, proud on that one. So,
well, if I can use it to bring in some new businesses that bring some great jobs, then I'll use it.
All right. So one last question, and this is a fun question. What would be a business that you would love to see in Topeka someday that we do not have?
Oh, goodness. Gosh. Huh. I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty content with what we have. So I don't know what I don't know, though. I
Sure.
guess, one thing I've heard tossed around by people in the past, and I don't know that it would need to be this franchise, but a model like Chicken and Pickle. It's pretty cool. I
Yeah.
like to
Yeah.
be, I like to be outside, and I think that lends itself to a date night or a group of friends or a family event. And so it's kind of a good offering for all types of people. And we don't always have the greatest weather for being outside for things, but
they have it in Kansas City.
Yeah, they have it in Kansas City, and they've
Yeah.
got a little ice skating rink in the middle to capitalize on the cold season. So I think that'd be cool.
So tell everybody, what is Chicken and Pickle?
So it's just it's a restaurant that has all of your yard games and stuff, but really is centered around pickleball. And so there's outdoor and indoor courts. And like I said, they have a ice skating rink, and they've got your cornhole games and ping pong and foosball and all of the games and things that are family friendly. And you can go there and pick a seat outside or inside and just have a relaxing day doing some activities and eating some good food.
I love it. I think that Topeka used to be big on restaurants. Like we used to have all different kinds of restaurants, things like that. I think we've kind of gotten away from that a little bit. But now that the community is developing more and these corporations are coming in more, I agree. I think the developments there, I mean, like, just like you look at some of the other developments that are happening in Topeka, they are really getting forward thinking and more upscale and opportunities. And I know some things that are happening, in the community that I'm really excited about. And some of these businesses that are promoting, like, it's work and play, right? Same time, and trying to get people more active and out there, and some of even the trails and the long bicycle things, and and I would love to see more of those interactive experiences, and not, I'll use like a Dave and Buster's, for instance. Like we have little arcades and we have little things, but like, Chuck E. Cheese isn't going to do it for some, right? But at the same time, like, though there's family fun centers and things like that, and it is hard sometimes to get the community involved in those things because I don't know if it's because the marketing isn't the greatest or because of whatever reason, but like those are things that I do believe coming out of the pandemic that I am seeing people are really wanting again, and having these outdoor restaurants and indoor outdoor facilities and we are really close to Kansas City, and Kansas City has some of these really cool things that I do think in your Momentum 2027 you'll probably see some of this stuff developing. I'm going to be following this a lot closer.
Good.
I don't know if I just didn't know that I should be following it more or what reason, but I really am excited to watch what GO Topeka is doing. I'd even love to get involved in some of this stuff because I think that I've been a business coach for people all over the United States and Canada for many years, and helping people build and grow businesses. It's not any different. It doesn't matter if you look at a business in Canada, you look at a business in Asia, you look at a business in Texas or Kansas, the principles are pretty similar. And it's about providing a service and providing something to someone that really needs it, right? And that's how we make money and that's how we grow. So I'm excited with what you guys are doing. That this interview has been very enlightening. I know a lot of my listeners are going to feel the same way, but for me in general, like I really lit a fire of passion about Topeka just listening to your passion about Topeka. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, that is. But I mean, I think that's the point, right? We need more of us that are ambassadors to just create that infectious positivity, I guess. So yeah, it's good. I'm glad to.
Well, I mean, I could see that, like, if Walmart comes in and they're sitting down with you, like, you aren't a hard sell, and yet, like, I could see them really wanting more of your time and your ideas because of your passion. You do believe in this community, and and being only an hour away from a major airport, or or even the infrastructure of what we already have in place, like, I can, within 45 minutes of talking to you here, like, I could already tell that you know what you're talking about, you're passionate about what you have, and you know that the opportunities are out there, and we're really just getting started. I mean, this is in the last 5 years. So going to Florida in 2018, coming back at the beginning of the pandemic, like, even in the last 5 years, just how much more Topeka went from that restaurant kind of business to, like, now we're a developmental community where we have everything from local, a lot more local owned businesses to major corporations. I mean, when I say that Walmart put in 1 million square foot
1.8 million actually.
Sorry. I was, I mean, just really think about that. Like, that is, now I got to do some math in my head. That's like 64,000 square feet approximately is an acre. Like, holy crap. I mean, that is a massive facility.
I think they told us you could put Arrowhead and Kauffman stadiums together.
Okay.
And that would be the size of their facility, roughly.
Great analogy. I can visualize it now.
Yeah.
Like, if you haven't driven out to 78, like that whole area, 77, go out there, check it out. Like, I remember the first time when we came back and I drove by there, I'm like, what is that? And I actually have some commercial land listed out that way. And I'm just like, it's amazing how, I mean, with, like you said, with the interstate, like right there, Turnpike, everything could just connect so easily. Topeka really is a great place to start small and go as big as you want. So thank you so much for being on today. I hope to reconnect with you soon and maybe do a follow-up sometime and just see how things are going. I know that there's some big announcements supposed to be coming soon with some other businesses. They're still working on legislation and things like that. And I know that there's a lot of NDAs and other things that are in play right now, but I am excited to see how the development happens. And I love your passion. Thank you so much for being on with us today.
Thank you, Cole.
You're welcome. You've been listening to Topeka Business Uncensored, where we interview business owners in the Topeka, Kansas area about their business and a little bit about them as a person. I'm Cole Boling, and I am one of the co-owners with my wife Jamie of the Boling Group Real Estate team with Keller Williams One Legacy Partners in Topeka. If you are thinking about selling, buying, or investing in real estate, I'd love to connect with you through our website at thebolinggroup.com.